dancing princess. There was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They slept in 12 beds, all in one room. And when they went to bed, the doors were shut and locked up. But every morning their shoes were found to be quite warm, true as if they had been dancing all night. And yet nobody could find out how it happened or where they had been. Then King made it known to all land that if any person could discover a secret and found out where it was that the princess danced in the night, he should have the one he liked best for his wife and should be king after his death. But whoever tried and did not succeed after 3 days and nights should be put to death. A king's son came. He was well entertained, and in the evening was taken to the chamber next to the one where the princess lay in her 12 beds. There he was to sit and watch where they went to dance, and in order that nothing might pass without his hearing, the door of his chamber was left open. But the king's son soon fell asleep, and when he awoke in the morning, he found that the princess had all been dancing, for the soles of their shoes were full of holes. The same thing happened to the second and third night, so the king ordered his head to be cut off. After him came several others, but they had all the same look, and all lost their lives in the same manner. Now it chanced that an older soldier who had been wounded in the battle and could fight no longer passed through the country where the king reigned, and as he was traveling through a wood, he met an old woman who asked him where he was going. I hardly know where I'm going, or where I had better do, said the soldier. But I think I should be very likely to find out where it is the princess dance, and then in time I might be a king. Oh, said the old dame, that is no very hard task. Only take care not to drink any of the wine which one of the princes will bring to you in the evening, and as soon as she leaves you pretend to be fast asleep. Then she gave him a cloak and said, as soon as you put that on you will become invisible, and you will then be able to follow the princess wherever they go. When the king's soldier heard all his good counsel, he determined to try his luck. So he went to the king and said he was willing to undertake the task. He was well received as the others had been. The king ordered fine royal robes to be given him, and when the evening came, he had left to the other chamber. Just as he was going to lie down, the elders of the princess brought him a cup of wine, but the soldier threw it all away secretly, taking care not to drink a drop. Then he laid himself down on his bed, and in a little while began to snore very loudly, as if he was fast asleep. When 12 princes heard this, they laughed heartily, and the eldest said, this fellow, you might have done a wiser thing than lose his life in this way. Then they rose up and opened their drawers and boxes, and took out all their fine clothes, and dressed themselves at the glass, and skipped as if they were eager to begin dancing. But the youngest said, I don't know how this while you are so happy. I feel very uneasy. I'm sure machine will follows. You simpleton, said the eldest. You're always afraid. Have you forgotten how many king's sons have already watched in vain, as if for the soldier Even if he had not given his sleep a draught, he would have slept sound enough. When they were all ready, they went and looked at the soldier, but he snored on and did not stir hand or foot, so they thought they were quite safe. And the eldest went to her own bed. The soldier saw them going through the trapdoor, one after another, the eldest leading the way, and thinking he had no time to lose, he jumped up and put the cloak which the old woman had gave him, and followed them. But in the middle of the stairs he tripped on the grove of the youngest princess, and she cried out to the herdsman, "All is not right! Someone took hold of my gown!" "You silly creature," said the eldest. "It is nothing but a nail in the wall." Then down they all went. At the bottom they found themselves in a most delightful grove of trees, and the leaves were all of silver, and glittered and sparkled beautifully. The soldier wished to take away some token of the place, so he broke off a little branch, and there came loud noise from the tree. Then the youngest daughter said again, "I'm not sure all's right. Did you not hear the noise? That never happened before." But eldest said, "It's it is only our princess who are shouting for joy at our approach." Then they came to another group of trees, where all leaves were of gold, afterwards with red, where the leaves were all glittering diamonds. And the soldier broke off a branch from each, and every time there was a loud noise which made the youngest sister tremble with fear, but the eldest still said it was only the princess who were crying for joy. So they went on until they came to the great lake, and at the side of the lake there were laid 12 little boats with 12 handsome princes, and then we seemed to be waiting for the princess. One of the princes went into each boat, and the soldiers stepped into the same boat with the young. As they were rowing over the lake, the prince who had been in the boat with the youngest princess and the soldier said, "I don't know why it is, but through I am rowing with all my might. We do not get so fast as usual, and I'm quite tired. The boat seems very heavy to it is only the heat of weather," said the princess. "I felt it very warm too." On the other side of the lake, fine illuminated castle, from which came the merry music of horns and trumpets. They all landed, all went into the castle, and each prince danced with all his princesses. And the soldier who has all time invisible danced with them too. And when any of the princes had a cup of wine set by her, he drank it all up, so that when she put the cup to her mouth, it was empty. At this too the youngest sister was terribly frightened, but the eldest always silenced her. They all danced on till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then all their shoes were worn out, so that they were obliged to leave off. The prince of the lake. But this time the soldier put in the boat with the eldest princess and saw on the opposite shore cliff of each other. The princess promised to come up again the next night. When they came to the stairs, the soldier ran on before the princess and laid himself down, and the 12 sisters slowly came up, very much tired. They heard him snoring in his bed, so they said, "Now it's all quite safe." They all undressed themselves, put away their fine clothes, pulled off their shoes, and went to bed. In the morning, the soldier said nothing about what had happened, but determined to see more of the strange adventure, and went again the second and the third night, and everything happened just as before. The princess danced each time to choose her wand pieces, and then returned home. However, on the third night, the soldier carried one away the golden cups as token of where he had been. As soon as time came when he was to declare the secret, he was taken before the king with the three branches and the golden cup. 12 princes stood listening behind the door to hear what he would say, and when king asked him, "Where do my 12 daughters dance at night?" answered, he answered, "With 12 princes in a castle underground." And then he told the king all that happened and showed him the three branches and the golden cup which he had brought with him. Then king called for the princesses and asked them whatever the soldier said was true. And when they saw were discovered, and that it was of no use to deny what had happened, they confessed it all, and the king asked the soldier which of them he would choose for his wife, and he answered, "I'm not very young, so I will have the eldest." And they were married that very day, and the soldier was chosen to be king's heir.